it was a snippet of a song. It was a snippet of a song that like nobody could figure out who made the song. It was the dude on TikTok that always be dancing to the Detroit music and like showing it like be random stuff in the background. And the bars was kind of fire, and so was the beat, bro. It was like told the shorty, it's either got to be my way or I ain't going. Just cop the brick and hit the highway. It's finna start snowing, and like I was like, bro,
I think that's an RMC Mike song. I think that's RMC Mike.
It was whoever was rapping. It sounded like a white boy because I know RMC Mike voice from a mile away. Like you know, it's certain voices. You know RMC Mike. You know Rio. You know YNJ. Yeah. You hear them. Even Pac-Man. You hear and Sada. You hear their voice. You like, oh yeah, I know who this is. But it sounds like a random white dude rapping. You know what I mean? I'm gonna just tell you. I'm real skeptical of white rappers right now, man. I was listening to that one that Sada Baby put on, and I'm like.
I don't know who you talk about.
I'm gonna send you his music after the show. I was just like, hey, Sada, don't do this to yourself, my brother in Christ. He may be a gorilla. He may be the realest, but you need to keep him in the back with the hitters. You do not need to have him near a mic. But that's another story for another time. Fellas, how y'all doing, man? It's been a long time. We shouldn't have left you without a dope beat. The step two. Never mind. Anyway, how y'all doing, man?
I'm feeling good, man. We can't do that. I might as well put a Ye album up back here.
Chris always trying to get us banned, man. Chris always trying to get us in trouble. This man is a menace. I don't know what to do with him no more, man. We finna put out an ad. If you need a podcast host, we have one available. We have one. Just know he will get your clean rate and snatch. Just be very aware of that. But fellas, we got a lot to go over today, man. There has been a ton of things going on in the sports world since the last time we talked. I mean, so much that it's some things that we're not even gonna get to. For example, UNC basketball being the fastest team to drop from number 1 to unranked ever.
Man.
Never seen it before. And we're not even going to get to that. Why? Because we got the NBA going on, teams making turnarounds. We got Deion Sanders saying, Boulder country, let's ride. I'm joking. He did not say Buffs country, let's ride. But he did tell them boys, he bringing his own luggage with him, and it's Louis. So he told them boys, y'all the cheap luggage. Y'all the luggage that, lasts for a trip and a half, and you supposed to get rid of it, but your mom will put some duct tape on it because y'all broke. Y'all know nothing about that. We gonna push right past it. And we got a ton of things to talk about today because when I tell you the sports world has been on fire, the Lions have been on fire, the NFC South is now the new NFC East. Aaron Judge, where is he going? Is he, they saying that he the AL home run king. He want to get the real thing. He said he want to get the real thing. He want to go out there and beat Barry's record on Barry's team. So we got a ton to talk about today. Does that sound like a good show to y'all?
Sound good to me.
All right. Well, let's get right on into it, man. What's up, y'all? Have a seat. It's your favorite hour of the week with the Facts Over Acts crew. We got the master, the mix and master, Josh Guyton in the building.
That is I.
We got the money man, the melt the plan, Chris Allen in the building.
Right here.
And then you got the little old MC, that's me, Ken Gibbs. Now, fellas, we always got to start off with a would you rather. And today's would you rather. Or would you, it's a situation. Honestly, I'll be seeing these a lot on, on TikTok where the dude is like, where it's the bald white dude and he's always like caveats and explanations at the end. His are pretty good, but like not really, because it always be some easy stuff like, oh, would you roll a 6-sided die? But like, if it lands on these numbers, like you're gonna die or something like that, and it's like 5 of them be great, and then it'd be like, oh, if you roll a 1, you die, and I'm like, duh, I'm gonna roll it that way.
Right.
The chances
like
of you
I'm grab by decision.
Bro, it's like, oh yeah, number 6 is you get the powers of Dr. Manhattan. Number 5, you get the powers of Superman. Number 4, you become the richest man on earth. Number 3, you get a billion, become a billionaire. I'm just like, bro, what?
Yeah.
There is the chances of me. Oh, number 2 is a zombie apocalypse, and number 1 is the earth cease to exist. I'm like, bro, there's one choice that's bad there. Like a zombie apocalypse is the only bad thing that could happen there. If we all stopped existing, we wouldn't know. It's just nothing. We just hear it. Bye.
Yeah.
But I digress. Anywho, today's question, fellas. Would you take $10 million right now if it meant you had to be paralyzed at 60? Talk to me.
I'm going to say, yeah. I'm going to say definitely, yeah.
Now, wait, again, so wait, just to be sure, we're talking paraplegic, right?
Yes.
Like, so no motion from the neck down.
Correct.
Is like, does my voice still sound like this though? Like, can I still like talk normal or like?
You can talk normal. You still you, just nothing from here down works.
Okay, all right, okay.
I'd be
All
cool
right.
with that. $10 million now. I feel like I'm not going to sell myself short, but at the same time, the likelihood of me amassing 10 million before I'm 60, the odds are fairly low. And I feel like once I get to my point in life, once I hit 60, I can get my affairs in order. I can live as much as I want to live up until that point at a somewhat moderate level of luxury. And at the same time, I've always told myself my over under is at 70. So struggling for 10 years. I'm 27. I've been struggling for 27 of them. So I feel like 10, and I got some bread, and I can get my family together. I think I'll be all right.
I tell people all the time, it's nothing worse than like going from having money to being broke. Because it was like people who lived in my neighborhood who like used to have money and then they got broke.
Man, yeah, when I was a kid, my pops made like bread. And then he got laid off and went through a divorce. Man, who went from being Ruth Chris to hamburger helper dog?
And that's the thing, bro. That's the thing. I thank my mom because we was always in the trenches. We was always in the trenches. I ain't never, you know what I mean? It was never like, oh my God, we got to go to Plymouth Square. No, it was just like, oh yeah, we going to grandma's house. That's what it is. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, okay, Chris, you taking the 10 mil or you just living life and you gonna take your chances?
Man, that's actually a tough one, Gibbs, for me, man. I'm sitting here thinking. So this is what I'm thinking, though. Let me tell y'all my thoughts, right? Mm-hmm. It comes down to this: is money the true meaning to my happiness, or is me doing what I want to do physically the true meaning to my happiness? You know, and that's why it's hard for me to answer that question because it's like, yeah, money is a big part of being happy to me. But it's not the only thing to happy. Like, you know, at 60, I want to be that old head at LA Fitness dropping buckets. You know, at 60, I want to be able to slap some skis on and still go to the top of the mountain, go down the mountain, you know. At 60, I want to be able to, you know, go on a cruise, walk around with the sun shining. But then again, you give me 10 million now. I could do all that now. And then, you know, at 60, be like, oh, I did everything I could possibly do. I don't think I'll quit my job for 10 million right away. It'd be like I ain't dealing with certain stuff at my job. Like when they bring something little to me, it's like, listen, bro, you know who I am. Like I'm not doing certain stuff. And I'm not dealing with certain people. It's like, why are you talking to me? You know, but personally, I think I won't take the 10 million. I don't want to be paralyzed. I don't want to be paralyzed. I feel like that'll lead me to more unhappy days than 10 million would lead to happy days right now. But to y'all point, I ain't never been down bad to the point where it's like I never want to be here again. I've never been down there.
I need y'all to understand something because I just looked up these statistics and it's even worse than I thought. The average lifespan of black men in general, 68. So I know that that's brought down drastically by like violent crime, suicide, all that. I understand. You know, men are more likely to die by suicide. Men work more dangerous jobs. You know, more likely to be involved in gang activity and all that. But then I looked up the average lifespan of college football players, and there was no data for college football players. However, former NFL players, the average age of living is 59 and a half. Don't get me wrong. I never played it down in the league, but let's just use logic here. Playing 17 years of the game that's getting them up out the paint at 59 and a half, I'm sure that like, I ain't too far beyond like 63, 64. 10 mil for that, man. Sign me up.
I don't want to sound morbid or anything like that, but 60 sound like a good run to me.
And also, hold on, wait. Let me ask you this: have either one of y'all ever seen the movie Ghost Rider?
Yeah.
That's another reason I'm gonna take the break, because we're all assuming that we're all gonna live like healthy lives and all. His dad got a clean bill of health and died the next day. Like, you know what I mean? Like, hey, give me that.
I mean, yeah, you could die any time, but still at the same time, like if you not struggling now and you know your trajectory, like in 10 years from now, you're gonna be making good money where you could do what you want to do. Why even risk being 60 and paralyzed? To me, that's how I look at it.
I mean, again, at the end of the day, you know what I mean? I got 2 surgically repaired Achilles. Who's to say I'm not gonna be anyway? Maybe not the whole joint. You know what I mean? Like, I ain't gonna have people wiping me, but you know, I'm just saying, man.
Y'all gonna be Charles from Diary of a Mad Black Woman. That's what y'all gonna be.
you know the difference I see here. Chris grew up with some bread. That's the difference in these viewpoints.
I mean,
Bro,
like, you grow up with bread though. Like,
I don't know, 160-year-old as a kid that was out here just having a good time.
That day life was that crazy. I'm like,
I know plenty though. I know plenty. Like I look at my pops, and like I told y'all before the show, my pops 56, right? If he told me he was paralyzed from the neck down in 4 years, I'd be like, Pops, you was just ATV riding in Cabo. What happened? Like how did this happen?
again, I think I done burnt out this old Duracell battery of a body on beating double teams and all that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, but I'm gonna tell you though, I would be sick if I'm like the one that God decided like, oh, you gonna live till you 85. Your family gonna be around you talking about, Papa, how are you? Like, till, you know, that's a tough time. That's a real tough time there. But on to less morbid things. We got to talk about some fun stuff. We got to talk about some sports. And this is a great time of the year because we're finally seeing the NBA get going for real. We're seeing the NBA get going in a serious manner. And folks, there have been some turnarounds, which, by the way, I'm going to just say this. I told everybody when everybody's like, oh my God, the Lakers are going to be the worst team in the NBA and da-da-da-da, and the Pelicans going to get the #1 pick. I told everybody, y'all are smoking crack. That is not, they're not going to be this bad for this long. Like, you're talking about a team led by LeBron without LeBron, and also figuring out situations with Russ and all that good stuff, whatever. But anyway, the Nets are firmly in the playoff picture as the 6th seed in the East. The Warriors have positioned themselves that if the play-in started tomorrow, they would be the last team in as the 10 seed. And the Lakers are only 1.5 games away from the Warriors, but they're 8-2 in their last 10. So of the 3 teams that we're talking about right now, they have the best win-loss in their last 10. Fellas, which turnaround is most surprising, and do you think that all 3 of these teams sustain it?
To me, the most surprising turnaround is the Brooklyn Nets. Mm-hmm. The Warriors don't surprise me because they're defending champions regardless of how poorly they started the season. I still don't know what Steve Kerr is doing with their rotations, but they have the talent and they have the experience and the chemistry to get it done. The Lakers, regardless of how bad their supporting cast is, which a couple have been playing decent the past few games, some unexpected pieces, might I add. But at the same time, when you got LeBron James and Anthony Davis, who's playing like a big man for the first time in 9 years, it's not surprising they can get some wins, especially winning games that they're supposed to win. Do I think they can beat the heavy hitters in a series? No. The Nets surprised me because, one, Ben Simmons isn't what he once was supposed to be, but he's also acting like he's not scared of the basketball, and he's done a good job of facilitating, and when he's open or he can make a layup, he's done it as opposed to immediately looking for a pass. Kyrie has just went out there and played basketball, and we know that Kevin Durant can hoop, but the chemistry and the way that he's been working around, because a lot of times with that Nets rotation, Kevin Durant is the only person on the floor out of those 3-star players, and I feel like he's been playing really well with a lot of those second unit pieces. And after he essentially called them trash. I'm surprised to see them have that good a chemistry on the floor. So I think all three of these teams make the playoffs. They all keep it together. I think Brooklyn and Lakers end the season around like probably a 7-8 seed. I know I had Brooklyn a little higher going into it, and I think the Warriors finish
You had them
around.
at 4. I got the list.
And I think the Warriors. Looking at the way that the West looks right now, I still see the Warriors finishing in one of those top 4 seeds for home court in at least the first round.
You want to bring up your Clippers? Just you had them a number 1 seed on the Clippers. You want to bring up
number 1 seed. And again,
the Clippers making the playoffs, they'd be fine too. I told y'all I thought the Clippers was dookie, but I thought they had a good regular season team put together.
And again, everybody looked at me like I was crazy because all of the national talking heads, this Clippers team, they looking like a 1 seed. This is a, Chuck, this is a 1 seed team. This is a team. They're not the Lakers, but. Let me
tell you something. The Los Angeles Clipper, Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, what's the Visa Subasa, down there, grab rebounds, 30 points. Coach Tyronn Lue, I love Ty Lue. Ty Lue is he a good guy. He called good play. This is a team to look out for.
Well, first and foremost, I want to say that Kawhi Leonard means the world to the game of basketball. And I've seen him outside of the gym and what he means to the world professionally.
Again, I told everybody that this Clippers team, I don't know where everybody, again, I'm a big John Wall guy. I told everybody that he should have been playing and that the Rockets were tanking on purpose to get good picks, and that's the only reason he wasn't playing. But I did not think, John Wall in the building? Yeah, you got yourself a 1 seed. Yeah. He's the difference. He's going to be the guy to take you over the top.
I'm just saying, you got a team, you got a roster full of players that know how to win meaningless basketball games.
Absolutely. But what you also have is your star player is not going to play the majority of your games. That's the reality. That's everybody talking about if Kawhi is healthy. Talking about if Kawhi is healthy is like watching Diary of a Mad Black Woman saying Charles was a good man if he chose to treat Helen better. Yeah, sure, he would have been a good man if he would have did that. But guess what? He didn't. He ain't healthy. So that's just the reality there. But anyway, Chris, which one of these turnarounds has been most surprising to you?
The Lakers one isn't really surprising. I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. The Lakers are doing what they should be doing. Like, I know the roster isn't assembled to win a lot of deep playoff run basketball because you need shooting, and they don't really have no knockdown shooters. But you got LeBron and AD. Like, do people forget that LeBron and AD at one point was like so far ahead of every other duo in the league that it wasn't even close. Like LeBron and AD at one point, their plus minus was like a plus 47, and the next best group was like a plus 17. The next best duo.
Yeah, I think that season it was D-Mitch and Gobert was second.
Exactly. Like, that's how far ahead LeBron and AD were. So I don't know why people are surprised. And I mean, everybody in their mama, even people that don't watch basketball, have told Anthony Davis, if you get down low and play like a 7-footer, like you are, you will get some success. Stop shooting the 3. And if you look at it, his 3-point percentage hasn't moved. His mid-range percentage went up a little bit, but his field goal percentage has shot up because he got down low. He's playing basketball down low like a big man.
In this streak that he's been balling the way he has, he shot a total of 4 threes, I believe.
But and you know what? I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna say this about the game, and I'm gonna leave it right here. Again, that moment with the Nuggets where everybody went to the 3-point line with a chance to win by a layup. That was the moment where I think a lot of people in the NBA said, all right, enough. We've gone too far. There was a 4-on-1 fast break with a guard under the rim to win the game, and everybody went to the 3-point line. Yeah. Nah, with that being said, let me tell you this about Anthony Davis. And I'm gonna tell y'all this. I'm not gonna lie to y'all, you know what I mean? I was kind of scared. I was worried about these Lakers. I was worried. Because it wasn't just that they were losing. It was the way in which they were losing. It wasn't like they were losing because of health. They had everybody there. They were just bad. Pat Beverly.
Well, LeBron missed like 7-8 games.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying when they first started the season, everybody was healthy, and they were still toilet water. There was still all these guards getting highs against. I'm just like, what is going on? I was worried. I'm not gonna lie. I said, oh boy, this Lakers take is gonna age poorly. It's gonna age very poorly for me. But they figured it out and they've turned it around. And I'm gonna tell you, Russell Westbrook accepting this role off the bench. Everybody keep talking about, well, now he looks good and he has trade value. Why would you trade him? He's accepting the role, and not only is he accepted the role, he's dominating in the role.
Yeah.
You at this point, keep him. Keep him and say, hey, listen, you are the second team offense. You are the guy. You may not be a starter, but baby, you're gonna be the finisher when we need when it come that time, there's gonna be some moments when you're the finisher. And also the other thing that I kind of like, the only reason that this wasn't surprised, the only reason that the Lakers wasn't surprised, because to me, the Nets, you play in the East. The East, regardless of what you want to say about them and how much better they've gotten recently, like, I'm sorry, but other than the Heat, there are no bad teams that I'm surprised that they're bad. The Magic, the Pistons, the Hornets, the Bulls, the Wizards, all of them, the Knicks. I expected them to be bad. The Heat are the only ones I'm like, hey, what's going on there? What's happening there?
No. The Nets is the one that I am surprised about, though. Actually, Gibbs, you know.
I mean, I knew that at some point in time that talent was gonna figure it out. Like, regardless of what Kyrie is, at some point in time he was going to come back and play. And I don't believe he's playing right now, right? He's still suspended, or
no, he's playing.
Oh, okay. I knew at some point in time he was going to come back, and I knew at some point in time, with all the stuff that we talk about Ben Simmons, at some point in time, like, he was going to have to do something. He wasn't going to be the Baker Mayfield of the NBA. Like, he was going to do something at some point in time.
Here's why I'm surprised at the Nets, though, Gibbs. When you look at that Nets team, right, who would you classify as the leader? Like, who would you say? Right. When has we ever seen KD lead a team?
But that's the thing. I don't think that he can lead them to a championship. But do I think that he can lead them to a pretty good regular season? Yeah.
When has he ever led a team to a pretty good regular season?
I mean,
every season ever?
No. He's a great player on a team that has a dominant force in the locker room. When he was on OKC, Russ was the leader in that locker room. Russ was the guy getting in people's faces, telling people what they need to be accountable, holding people accountable.
But that's like saying Draymond is the leader of Golden State because he does that for them. Like, yes, there's different types of leaders. There's leaders by word and there's leaders by deed. When I played, I wasn't a big talker. I wasn't the guy that was always in there by, hey, you can do that, you can do it. I just went out there and did my thing. And if you don't know which way to go, I'll make it easy. Follow me. And KD has done that.
Yeah. And here goes another reason why I'm surprised at the Nets too, right? All the turmoil from the offseason, I didn't think this would really pan out. And then with KD comments about his team enhanced me to even think he's less of a leader. And it's even making it even messier in the locker room. And then on top of that, Steve Nash got fired. You know, I was like, all of that happened in a matter of a week, and they turned this around. And then Kyrie got suspended the following week after all that happened. So I mean,
I just don't think it surprised me because if you look at the sport of basketball, regardless of what long-term success the Nets is going to have, a team that's talented is going to win games. I don't think we ever seen a team that talented just like not have a good regular season.
And I told y'all, and the Warriors are not surprising me at all because I told y'all before the season, this is the last year of the Warriors dynasty. This is the last one. This is it. This is all they got.
But the thing about the Warriors, though, I agree with you, Gibbs, but they got so many assets. Why are they? If you have Stephen Curry in the peak of his career shooting backward shots from three-point line, full court football pass shots, I don't know if it was real or not, but really shooting full court football shots and cashing 5 in a row, you got him at his peak of his powers. Why are they holding on to all of these assets? They got like 17 assets as far as draft capital and players. Why are you holding on to all this?
I think that Golden State is really stuck on holding on to that culture that they have and trying to groom these young pieces into taking the roles of, you know, Steph, Clay, and Draymond, because they know that the end is near. That's what I think they're hoping for. So I think they want. I think they looking at that next group, you know, to be Jordan Poole, Kuminga, Moody.
That's like saying we holding on to all these assets because LeBron came back to the Cavs, so we holding on to all these young guys and not gonna get no veterans around them. We got time to work on Andrew Wiggins to develop him while LeBron is 31, 32 at the peak of his powers, coming off of championships in Miami.
But bring him in the Cavs culture.
If you think about it, that's what Golden State did the first time, and they just happened to get lucky.
I'm gonna say
Steph, Clay, and
regular.
Draymond was the young dogs, and you know it was giving the ball to Bogut and David Lee and Monte Ellis.
I'm gonna tell you this. Lightning only strikes once.
Correct.
You are not going to see another Stephen Curry walk through that door for at least 20 to 30 years.
I don't think we see another Steph Curry in our lifetime.
Nah.
But watch this. Let me take it a step further. The combination of a Steph and a Clay is never happening again. We're never going to see two players that are that good at shooting the basketball, and they complement each other in that way.
Right.
That one of them is great off the dribble. He can give it to you any way you want it. And the other guy is the definition of catch and shoot. Didn't he put up like what, 47 with 15 dribbles or something crazy like that?
No, he put up 60. 60
on 11 dribbles.
60 on 11 dribbles.
And 7 of those dribbles was on one possession when he drove to the rack.
But that is my exact point. You will never, ever see that again. Like, you'll never see it. This is just, again, if Klay Thompson played on another team, I have no doubt he wouldn't be pushing Steph for the all-time lead in threes, but he would be up there in that upper echelon, that 2-3 range in terms of threes made if he was on a team where he was the number one scoring option. I have no doubt in my mind about that. Yeah. But it just didn't. Again, you're playing with Steph Curry. Like, you know, that's the way it worked out. So I figured that they were going to turn around at some point in time. But you can't keep assets and hope that you're going to get that again. Because I'm sorry.
I got the perfect trade scenario. I got the perfect trade scenario for Golden State too, right? So you got to look at this, right? Look at the teams that are struggling right now, right? Mm-hmm. What does Golden State need the most? What y'all both think Golden State needs the most?
I think they need some bigs. I think they really need some good bigs.
Yeah, I think they need. I wouldn't. I mean, you could say it. You could say it in the form of a big, but I think they need a really good hybrid defender. Because if you look at their perimeter and their paint defense, Draymond is the only one that's like playing elite level defense this season.
So that's what I was thinking. They need a good elite 4 or a smaller size 5 that can switch onto multiple positions, right? That's what I think they need the most, because Andrew Wiggins shown he could be a great wing defender, but he struggles guarding like 4s and 5s, right?
Right.
So hear me out, right? You got a lot of assets, right? Memphis is a team, right, that they play good regardless who's on the floor, right? They play good regardless who's on the floor. But they're a young team, and they got a lot of time. They know they not there yet, but they knocking at the door, right? Yep. You got a young stud in Jordan Poole. You also got James Wiseman that I think as he gets back into it, even though he got sent to the G League, he could be a solid off-the-bench center, right? Solid off-the-bench center. Jaren Jackson hasn't been healthy for Memphis, and also he's required to be the third option in Memphis. You bring Jaren Jackson over to the Warriors, and now you could play 5 out, and you got a 4 or 5 that can guard the 4 or 5 and the 3 sometimes.
Hey, Chris, stop it.
That makes that team a lot better.
Hey, Chris,
I think Jaren Jackson fits Golden State system, but I wouldn't trade pieces.
Give him up. That's what I'm saying.
I wouldn't give up pieces for Jaren Jackson. I don't think Memphis will give him up.
No, if you trade Poole, 2 draft picks, and Kuminga and Wiseman, I think you get Jaren Jackson.
Golden State would be crazy to do that.
I was just about to say if you talking that package, sure, but I don't think they'll give them that much.
For that package, I might give you more.
But I'm saying you still keep Wiggins, Draymond, and Clay and Curry to keep that culture that you talked about, Guyton, and you get Jaren Jackson.
So you keep it 2.5 watch players.
If I was Memphis and they offered me that much, I'll throw Glorilla in there.
I agree with y'all. It is a lot, but you got to remember he's a young talent that is going to flourish in Memphis offense and help them in the long-term plan. But you go all in on something like that because Curry is in his prime. If you get a chip out of it, it don't matter. Don't nobody talk about Anthony Davis trade to the Lakers. Nobody talk about it because they got a chip. Like, yeah, they gave up a lot, but they got a chip out of it. If you get another chip out of it, if Curry get that, do people realize if Curry get one more ring, he's in the conversation of like, okay, like, because he shot the ball this good, he might actually be in the Michael Jordan conversation. Like, if Curry gets another ring, Gibbs.
Hey, Chris, stop it.
If he get another ring like he just got this ring, Gibbs.
Chris,
he in the Michael Jordan conversation, dude.
Okay, Chris, let's knock this off for one reason and one reason only. Okay.
Nah.
There's a difference. There's a difference between. Okay, let me just ask you this, Chris. How many Finals MVPs does Steph have?
He only has one, right? Okay. I got a counter argument for that, though. So
he has as many as Andre Iguodala. He has as many as Chauncey Billups. He has as many as Tony Parker. My brother in Christ, I'm sorry to tell you this. It's a reality that when you look at what Steph did, I'm not saying that you look at him and say, oh, you can replace Steph with any old body and they win all of those championships. Absolutely not. But for the ones where KD was there, there's a very real argument for you can replace Steph with a mid-level player and they still win that chip.
But my argument right now, right? How many final MVPs Kobe got?
Kobe got what? 2, 3?
Two.
If Steph wins this year and he's the reason why they win like he was last year, you telling me he's not in the Jordan conversation?
Christopher Allen, no.
Guy, work with me, man. I see your face over there. You being neutral, but
if he wins this year, I will be ready to crown Steph as the best point guard of all time. And I think I think he's undisputed top 10. I got him in top 10 already, but a lot of people are willing to put it in there. I think he's top 10 now.
If he carried his team from starting off the season bad to being the Finals MVP this year, I'm sorry. He's in the conversation of what he did to the game. Think about the narrative. What he did to the game as a shooting point guard, undersized, can play off the ball, can play on the ball, can shoot. As soon as he steps on the court, you got to guard him. Got everybody modeling their game after his.
I mean, you bring up a very valid point, and when you look at it from that like scope, you can say but we all watch like Steph's entire career. Just you can't put him in a GOAT convo.
I don't know, man.
That man had entire seasons in the beginning of his career. Entire seasons. Where he wasn't
I agree.
Not only he wasn't counted on to be a LeBron, to be a Jordan, he wasn't even counted on to be their first option for seasons.
I agree, Gibbs. I agree.
Man.
But think of all the players that came into that position where that team actually they gave you the keys to the castle, right? And how many people folded? Think about how many people folded. He could have folded. He could have gave up after all the injuries. He could have gave up all the injuries. But he got 5 with 2 Finals MVPs. That's the same thing Kobe got. Literally.
Christopher Jadarian.
But you know it's not the same.
Please.
You watch Kobe win the rings and you watch Steph win the rings. It ain't the same.
Let me let you in on this. And I hate to be this guy, but it has to happen. All of the guys that we're talking about on that pantheon, on that you're the guy on that LeBron, Jordan, Kobe conversation, in that ball game, all of them either have a defensive player of the year, they made an all-defense team, or we know they were robbed of a defensive player of the year, a la Marc Gasol not being the best defender on his team and winning it over LeBron because the NBA didn't want to give too many trophies to LeBron. At the end of the day, for as dynamic, for as great, for as game-changing, you got to alter your game plan. You got people double-teaming at the logo, 2 guys with their hands up. I give them that. I give them that all day and tomorrow. You cannot be on that conversation in that pantheon unless you averaging 40 a game or you got to play both ways. And he did neither.
I agree with you. I agree. Me personally, he would probably be 5 for me personally. But if somebody argued it, I could see their argument. If somebody argued it, is what I'm saying.
Ooh,
I'm saying he in the argument.
The mayor said he been playing like the 60-year-old. He said he been out there. hey, the young bucks, they got me running off these screens. You know, my wife, she can't cook that good. I got her a cooking show just because I love her, but she can't cook that good. I ain't got that energy. We run around these screens now. Hold on, damn, we got to switch it. But anywho, I honestly and truly, I'm not surprised by these teams turning it around because we all know in the NBA, it's always going to be young teams start out hot, teams that everybody hates and says they're going to be bad. They come out with big ambition. I mean, shout out to Lauri Markkanen for not having his career highlight being mentioned in Block Party by Sada Baby. Good for you. But we knew that wasn't sustainable. We knew he was not about to be in the MVP conversation in real life. And the Jazz would come back down to earth as well as multiple other young teams that were hot to start off the season. But, you know, I'm not deeply surprised by any of these teams getting it turned around. So that's just my take there. But now, we've got to talk about a guy who did turn around and tell them boys at Jackson, I'm leaving. It's been real, it's been fun, but it ain't been real fun. I'm out. Fellas, Deion Sanders asked who ain't SWAC. Baby, if he ain't SWAC, he meant somewhere around Colorado. That's what SWAC meant. Who ain't somewhere around Colorado if he ain't, because he is now in Boulder, Colorado as a buff. Now, fellas, what do you think on this Deion situation? What are your initial thoughts?
My initial thoughts is I think Deion did what he was supposed to do. We know it's going to be a very long time, if we ever see a HBCU be a powerhouse in college football or any collegiate sport for that matter. But I've been a fan of college sports for my entire life, and I've never seen that amount of attention or that level of talent go to a collegiate program ever. And I really think that it was one of those positions where you start out hot, you do what you're supposed to do, and when the money comes to you, I'm never going to be mad at somebody getting paid. And we know that Colorado, regardless of the fish plate accusations, I would never be upset at seeing somebody go to a place where they can find more success or find some more money. And I think that what he was able to provide for the collegiate scene at HBCUs was more than enough. And hopefully people will continue to carry on that, I don't want to say tradition, but be able to carry on that momentum.
That's fair. That's definitely fair. I get where you're going there. Chris, what are you thinking, man? What do you actually? You know what? Let me hop in here. Now, I just want to say this because I think that too often people get stuck in the thought of everything in life has to be binary, good, bad, and you know all that good stuff. Honestly and truly, and you know what, Mayor had a very cogent point there. So I'm gonna read what Mayor said here. I think Power 5 conferences didn't want to take a chance on Deion until he cut his teeth in a different league. No one knew what type of coach he would be. He proved his mettle at JSU, and a Power 5 jumped at the opportunity, and Prime reciprocated. Now, let me get into it from this angle, okay? And I think those are very good points from the mayor there. Let me say this. I don't know why people are acting like it has to be all good or all bad. It can be both. People are talking about what he did for Jackson. They should thank him, and he put his own money into the program, and you know he did. You know there would never have been all this coverage, all that, and you know he did everything he could. Now it's time for them to pick up and carry on, and he left a blueprint. I do agree. The amount of winning that he did there, fantastic. In the entire last 2 seasons, they lost 1 game. I mean, if they finish undefeated, if they win the Celebration Bowl, they've lost 1 game over the course of 2 seasons. That's impressive. Yeah. That's impressive. That's nothing to scoff at. Good for them. With that being said, that doesn't mean that you're beyond reproach for coming in and selling the dream of, well, why can't HBCUs have a nice thing? Why can't HBCUs do this? And then leaving after 3 years. 2-3 years. And then on top of that, let me say this, and this is the biggest part for me. The idea that he left a blueprint. Are y'all well? Are you okay in the head? Deion Sanders is not. People look at like great football players and sometimes like to lump Deion in that category. You're wrong. Deion is beyond that. He's beyond great football player. He's great athlete, number one. First ever player to score a touchdown in the Super Bowl and hit a home run in the World Series. I believe he's the only one. I believe he's the only one ever. Am I?
Yeah,
only one ever. Okay. First thing. And then let's go a little further beyond that. On top of that, not only is he one of the greatest athletes of all time, this man is one of the greatest personalities of all time. Everything that Deion does is prime time, is larger than life, is seen and loved and revered. Barry Sanders is one of the greatest players of all time.
Yeah.
Did he have his own reality show on Lifetime?
No,
Deion did.
Culture of football.
But Deion did. You know, when we look at all the things that Deion did, you look at Jerry Rice. Jerry Rice was a great player. There is no argument for anybody in terms of who's the best receiver of all time. There's not even a question. It's Jerry Rice and then everybody else by a mile, right?
Yeah.
What's Jerry Rice's dance that everybody does in the end zone? Anybody know? Okay.
Jerry Shuffle.
But we know the primetime high step into the end zone. We know that. We know when we see we know exactly what's going on when we see that on the field. We know. Deion Sanders and what he laid out is not replicable. It's not. Look at Eddie George at Tennessee State. And this is no disrespect to Eddie George. Great running back, Titans legend, NFL legend. What Primetime did is because he is him. He's him. When he's on the TV, you want to look, you want to watch, you want to see. He can get the number one recruit in the nation in Travis Hunter. Who else is going to do that? Mo Williams, an NBA, I wouldn't say great, an NBA very good. It's down at Alabama State. What number one player he get? Who? When? Where? Ain't happening. What Deion did is what Deion did. That's not a blueprint. It's not replicable. It's like saying that LeBron left the blueprint for Cleveland. Hey, all you got to do is get one of the best players of all time, make sure that best player of all time is also a great passer, and surround him with shooters. I've given you the blueprint. Yeah, sure, LeBron. Sure. Yeah, you laid it right out for us. Man, how did every team in the NBA not think of that? That's the reality of what we're looking at here. So, yes, we can acknowledge Deion did what's best for himself, and that's not a bad thing because every college coach does that. But the bad thing is the talk that there was about, hey, why don't these players come to HBCUs? Why don't black players go to HBCUs and all that good stuff? When in reality, it's the same reason that you left for Colorado. Better facilities, better money, better pizza, but seriously, it's better things when you go to a PW, particularly a Power 5 PWI. So I don't understand it. I don't understand where this take of everything has to be good or everything has to be bad comes from. There's a full gamut of things going on here. Go ahead, Chris.
I mean, Gibbs, that's a hard act to follow. You spoke a lot of facts right there. What I will add to that, though, is basically Deion Sanders. So people, I've seen a lot of people on social media mad. He took money over what his impact could have been for HBCUs, right? Do people realize that Deion Sanders was in the NFL and had like a great career and he was must-watch TV? Do people realize that? Deion ain't hurting for no money, especially not no $5 million. Deion could care less about the money. You know, it's a certain time in everybody's professional career is you got to make choices. Do you want to set yourself up for success or do you want to set yourself up to struggle, right? Yeah, you can have a great career and doing something you love to do, but struggle while you're doing it, right? Or you can do good at your job and go to a more ideal situation that prepares you for the future to have less stress in your life, right? And that's what Deion did. He chose to go a route that he can sustain long term. The amount of work that he would have to do to keep up that attitude at an HBCU, and it's unfortunate. You know, I love HBCUs. I didn't go to a HBCU personally, but I love the culture. I love everything they stand for, and I support HBCUs. But let's be honest. That's like saying Cass Tech gonna get a baseball field and it's gonna be a state-of-the-art baseball facility. No, I transferred from Cass Tech because I was more of interested in playing baseball at the next level, and I knew that playing 9 games in a public school league where there's only 3 good teams was not the answer.
3 being generous.
I went to Farmington High School, where they had 2 baseball fields on the campus. You know, 2, and they had a travel team for all the baseball players to play after the season. A farm system. They had kids starting in 6th grade playing in the farm league in the travel system, and they was feeding them into the high school. That's an ideal situation.
Again, Chris, you ain't Cass Tech. You know what I mean? You ain't Cass Tech for real. You're a pharmacy guy. You know what I mean? You're a pharmacy guy. That's who you are.
That's fine. Whatever y'all want to say. Y'all know me from Cass. I mean,
that's who you. What was Farmington's team name? What was it?
They was the Falcons. They was the Falcons.
He's a Falcon. He's not a technician. This guy's a Falcon.
Hey, that's perfectly fine. I didn't graduate from Cass Tech. I mean, I ain't crying over it. It is what it is. But what I'm saying, I'll just say that to say is, sometimes you got to make a tough decision that sets you up for success for what you want to do. And that's pretty much what you have to do especially as a black male in leadership. You have to set yourself up for success, because your leash is shorter than any other leash that is out there. Your leash is shorter than any other competitor out there. If he had a bad season, people will be screaming at the top of their lungs, fire him. Look at Hardball, for example, right? Perfect situation he was placed into in Michigan. One of the state-of-the-art football facilities. They take, no matter win or lose, they take a trip to Rome and everything, right? Mm-hmm. Wherever they want to go. As long as they remain competitive, you're not going to hear nothing. People wanted to fire John Harbaugh. Now they loving him because he got all the top recruits, and they undefeated, and they number 2 in the nation right now.
They beat Ohio State twice in a row.
Exactly.
Michigan fans ain't used to that. That's just the reality.
They not used to that. But because he was in an ideal situation, eventually he was going to succeed. And that's kind of what Deion knew. He knocking at the door. If he does well at Colorado, I'm sure he's going to take another opportunity somewhere else where he's more in an ideal, even better situation, where he's getting top recruits on a regular basis, you know? And nobody expects him to go and be a world changer. Like, Colorado probably not going to be in the college football playoffs the first year he there. Probably not the second or the third or the fourth year he there, if he stays that long. But what you do know is he's setting himself up with better resources to be successful.
I just want to fully put this. I am not mad at Deion for taking this job. Again, $300K to $5 million. That's crazy. That's not 10 times what you were making. That's like what, 13, 14. Again, that's a decision that any of us would make every day of the week. But that's not the part that people are upset about. That's not the part. And to pretend like that is the part that people are upset about is disingenuous. It's disingenuous and dishonest. That to me is just crazy. You can understand that, hey, Deion did what's best for himself, but again, when you self-aggrandize and talk about being at an HBCU for altruistic reasons, you got to understand people are going to get mad when that altruism is gone. You have to understand that. To me, it's crazy to look at folks and say, why are y'all mad that he's moving up in the world? And I can't remember what philosopher it was, but they said the only way to avoid criticism is to do nothing, be nothing, and say nothing. So we all know everything that you do, somebody gonna say something about it. Point blank, period. So I'm sure Deion got thick skin. And by the way, Mayor said you ain't Cass. He said who ain't Cass if Gibbs and Josh ain't Cass, it's not Chris. That's what the mayor said, not me. I'm just reading the comments.
Mayor, you're a Commanders fan. That's all I'm gonna say.
Oh my Lord. Oh my God, what happened to Virgil? So with that being said, I think we can put the Deion chapter. Oh, wait. One more thing about the Deion chapter, and then I'm gonna stop after this.
Yeah.
Colorado doesn't have his money yet. That's crazy. They selling fried buffalo plates up there with hot chocolate. Them white folks' stomach is tore up. Their stomachs are tore
Well, hot
up messing
chocolate. You said
around.
they serving Alicia Keys play.
They serving the most deaf special. Buffalo burgers with
That
a
sounds like
hot
something
chocolate.
they make you dip your wings in on Fear Factor or something. You know?
Listen, all I know is Colorado, according to multiple reports, is planning on fundraising for his money. They finna drop the GoFundMe. They finna take what's that? The class talk about. This is how you use full-term life insurance to pay off everything you want right now. They finna get in one of those classes, messing around trying to get Deion his money. And to me, that's the worst part about all this. Cause like even worse than Deion saying like, you know, I'm gonna be why not HBCUs? Why not do it here? Why can't we come home? Worse than all that is the fact that you went to a PWI that don't even got their bread right. That's crazy. That's crazy. If you gonna do jump ship to somewhere where when they say, hey, you good with us, the check clears immediately. Because if they tried to pay him right now, that check would get bounced like Josh Norman trying to tackle Derrick Henry that one time. And we all remember he got dribbled off the ground as a grown man. So, that's just a very, very unfortunate part about this saga. And now we move on to the NFL. And we talked about him earlier a little bit. Baker Mayfield, waived by the Panthers. He's been picked up by the Rams. Fellas, have we ever seen a number one pick in the NFL take this hard and fast of a fall?
I don't
even think he's been in the league 5 years, have you?
I think he's at 5. I think he's exactly at 5, ain't he? Let's see. How many years?
Oh, the Pistons just beat the Heat. Oh my God!
I told you the Heat are
not looking well.
The Heat are surprisingly bad this year. They're the only ones that I'm like, oh, okay, that's like a deep surprise. But anywho, Baker Mayfield is on his
No, I was just had to
Wow.
address the comments real quick. Off the rails, definitely not Jared Goff. I mean, I think Jared Goff is a pretty bad quarterback, but he's had some success in the league. He's been a starter since the day he got drafted.
He went to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, haven't been bounced around teams, and he's the quarterback of a pretty all right team.
This
right
is
now.
this is Baker Mayfield's 5th year exactly. 5th year exactly.
Yeah, I'm about to say, he haven't even finished 4 or 5 years yet. That's usually at the time where you decide if a quarterback is going to take the leap or they not going to take the leap. They 5th year at the helm. You know, think about all the great quarterbacks. Tom Brady, it was like his 3rd year where he kind of got the pre-starter for the car. Then in year 4, they was like, all right, you're going to give you the keys to the car, but drive slow. And then year 5, it was kind of like, okay, you know, you can go get that Maybach, you know.
I mean, I think that if we gotta go back over 20 years to see. I'm thinking maybe Tim Couch is the last number one pick we saw that's been this dookie this fast.
But he wasn't no 6 teams. Like Baker Mayfield probably
Yeah,
gonna end up
very
on
true.
6 teams by the end of this year 7.
What pick was Johnny Manziel? What pick was he?
He was 2. He's number 2
was
pick,
2.
I think.
Oh, okay. So yeah, we haven't. Yeah. He was the one that came to mind for me, where I'm like, he might have fell faster. Hard,
Yeah,
he was a 2.
but Johnny didn't really fall hard. Johnny got hooked on drugs. That's like 2 different scenarios to me. Like Baker is doing, showing up and just sucking.
I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna let y'all in on my personal life a little bit, fans. I always used to say when people was like, yeah, my dad was on drugs or something like that, I'd be like, man, I wish my pops was on drugs, man, because that way I could be like, oh, he loved us, he just couldn't get the monkey off his back. Bro was sober as hell and looked at us and was like, y'all are not passing the vibe check. I do not want nothing to do with y'all, bro. That is crazy. It's always worse when somebody is doing something sober than when they're doing it high. Always worse if they're doing a bad thing. But I digress. Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, but I'm saying at least Manziel, his reason makes sense. His focus wasn't there. He made a lot of money and he just, he couldn't let go of his bad habits. Yeah. Baker, literally, to be honest with you, he ain't really even been hurt like that. He just been bad.
I mean, I'm gonna tell you this: as a guy that used to catch 2 buses to go to Castech every day, you will always hear on both buses when you got your equipment in your hand. Oh man, I should have been bad, dude. I was a bad dude. I used to be out there shaking them up, but I couldn't get the monkey off my back. I couldn't stop, And it's like, well, yeah, I get it, but like you said, you just bad, just showing up and not showing out. That's a tough time for Baker. So let me ask y'all this: Do y'all think that he has, or how much longer do you think he has in the league?
I honestly think he got one season after this one. I think he goes over to Los Angeles. He stinks it up. And I think one team next year takes a chance on him, a team that desperately needs a quarterback. I'm thinking like a Carolina or something like that. And
Well, he just got cut from Carolina, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
I mean, not Carolina. I'm thinking Atlanta. We can go to like Atlanta or something like that.
Well, Mariota look better than him right now.
Mariota looking kind of bad too, man.
They both bad, but
Hey, it's like the picture of a girl who was like me versus what he cheated on with, and somebody was like, y'all having a mid off right now.
Right.
Him and Mariota gonna have that mid off, boy. That you hate to see that.
Yeah. So I think he can have one more season to where he stinks it up, or he has like a couple of starts throughout that season. But after that, I think either he's out of the league or he that one guy that's third string. You pull up Matt and you're 58 overall, and you be like, "Oh, remember Baker Mayfield?" And then he just floating around the league collecting a couple checks.
Hey, Cam Newton won an MVP. Cam Newton does not belong in this conversation. He does not, with all due respect, my brother in Christ, he does not belong in this conversation. He can't be.
Yeah.
But now, before we get out of here, let's talk about the Lions. Motor City, Dan Campbell has got the guys, the kneecap biters, in position to make a playoff run. Or not a playoff run, but to get in
Potentially.
the playoffs. Potentially getting in the playoffs, fellas. What do y'all think? Do y'all think that this team has a chance to get in via the wild card? Because right now, they're 5-7, and so that means that they're 2 games back of the teams who are firmly in, quote unquote, firmly, which would mean it's what, 6 teams to make 7 teams to make the playoffs now, right?
Yep.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, they're 2 games behind the Commanders, who are 7-5-1. So 5-7. They're Commanders 7-5-1. They're 2 games out, fellas. What do y'all think about the Lions and how they've been this season? What are you thinking?
I'm impressed by the Lions. I'm impressed by the play of Jarek. I think at this point they're really playing to their strengths. I think that front line on defense that we were expecting a little bit more of out of the start of the season is starting to live up to expectations. The secondary still need a lot of work, but they are relatively healthy than what they were when they started the season. So I honestly, I got to give it credit. Out of all of the years where, as a Lions fan, some of us said this our year and it wasn't. But as far as a complete depth chart all the way through, I think the front office and the coaching staff with the Lions might be doing something right, and this might be the most talented team throughout that I've seen as a Lions fan since I've been watching football for 20-ish years. And they might know what they're doing, because I don't think anybody first saw the Rams having 3 wins at this point in the season.
Man, I'll tell you what, that pick is looking thick. That pick looking juicy. But with the way that they're playing right now,
If they keep sticking to this game plan and having that offense where they're playing at Jared Goff's strengths and being able to slice through that offensive line of the other team like we've been doing, looking at the rest of our schedule, I can see the Lions finishing the rest of the season 1-4. I see us losing this week to Minnesota, and we can beat New York, Carolina, Chicago, and Green Bay 4 weeks in a row.
I'm gonna tell you this. I'm gonna save it until the end. Chris, what are you thinking? What do you think about the Lions and how they've been? We know you're a Steelers guy. You don't gotta announce it. You don't gotta tell us.
I support the Lions. You know, I'm from Detroit. I support the Lions. You know, I ain't got no bad blood. I'm a Steelers guy for sure, but I want to see the Lions do good. You know, it's good for Detroit when all the teams in Detroit are doing good. You know, I ain't a super hater. They just broke my heart when I was a little young buck, and they went 0-16 when I told everybody they gonna at least win 1 game, and I was like, head and shoulders over the Lions and telling people they're going to win at least 1 game. They said, boy, is you stupid? But anyway, I think what the Lions are doing is the perfect timing. You know, they got that Ram security. So basically when you saw that the Rams were going to be bad, yeah, you go all in and try to win this season, you know, because that builds the morale. Eventually, at some point, as a good organization, you have to get the winning culture attitude, winning culture mindset, how to win games. And I think this is the perfect time, knowing that they got that draft security with the Rams being horrible this year. Nobody expected that to be horrible, you know. In addition to, you got a breakout athlete, Amon St. Brown. Like, he is what Cooper Kupp was last year almost. He is literally almost what Cooper Kupp, like somebody you always can throw the ball to in any situation. Like, that has been like the golden knight in this Lions offense, I feel like. Like, he is somebody that you can throw the ball to no matter what situation it is, no matter what down it is. In addition to that, the power of this offensive line. We seeing that spending the draft capital on that offensive line is paying out. You know, it's really, really making Jared Goff days a lot easier. Even me, I thought it was crazy for them to trade TJ Hawkinson, but then again, it gave them more of a free-flowing spread speed offense, you know? It was actually ingenious trading him. And then in addition to that, what I do know is they almost have to win out to make the playoffs, which I think is very, very possible, but I don't see them beating the Vikings.
They do not have to win out. They are not close to
Well, that's only because I think Washington going to win at least 2 more games. So if Washington wins 2 more games,
okay.
Then yeah, I think Washington going to at least win 2 more games. If they win 2 more games, the Lions have to almost win out, right? Because they got that tie as well, and that's give them half a point. So yeah, Washington going to win 2 more games, so the Lions will have to win out. I don't think they beat the Vikings just because I think the Vikings got humbled when they played the Cowboys, and I think they realized that they not really them, and they need to get to a situation where they are them. Right now, the Lions are actually favored in that game, though. So Vegas knows something we don't know, but the Lions are actually favored in that game. So I say all that to say is I'm happy for the Lions. I think it was perfect timing for the Lions, and I think it is like inspirational for seasons to come. I think Dan Campbell is the guy that they've been looking for. If you look at Matt Patricia with the Patriots, he's still stinking it up as an offensive coordinator. So I wish bad things to that man. I don't know why. I just wish bad things to that man.
I know why I wish bad things. I'll tell you right now. That man, all of the players that he got rid of turned into Pro Bowlers and All Pros. Quandre Diggs turned into a cornerstone of that Seahawks secondary. Darius Slay. Remember when he said Darius Slay wasn't elite? And now everybody's saying he's a top 5 cornerback in the NFL.
I mean, he was for the Lions, really.
He was for the Lions. But you know the difference? You know the difference between the Lions and the Eagles? When he played for the Lions, Patricia had a very simple scheme. Hey, we're going to go man, and y'all are going to cover your guy all game long, and you're going to stick with him like white on rice, and you'll be all right with that. I don't care what's going on. That's what you're going to do. As opposed to the Eagles who say, we're going to throw some different things at a quarterback. We're going to make you get confused a little bit. And don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. Darius Slay has been excellent in man coverage. Look what he did against Justin Jefferson. But I'm just saying, it's interesting to see when all of a sudden you put somebody in the real scheme, what they can do. I'm going to tell you this. The Lions are surprising me. I thought that this team was a 7-win team tops. And not only did I think they were a 7-win team tops, but I thought that the way that they're winning now was not feasible in that they are lighting it up through the air. Jamal Williams is leading the league in rushing touchdowns. What?
I mean,
that is
how explosive the Lions offense is surprising me a lot, but the way that they play, their offensive scheme is not surprising me. That if you told me he was leading in yards, that would surprise me, but in touchdowns, I don't think that's too surprising with that 2-man game they've been running.
Well, it's a shock to me. I'm gonna just tell you straight up and down. I am confuzzled. I am confusion. This is they acting totally unruly. And the last thing, I knew this team was gonna play hard because last year they played hard. They were getting the wheels whipped off them playing hard. They were trying. They were giving everything they got. I thought that they were 1 or 2 years away from being a team that can not only keep games competitive, because I knew they keep in the NFL. This is one thing that always surprises me when I watch NFL games, especially late in the season when like It's like, oh yeah, the playoffs are teams are eliminated, or they, like yes, we haven't technically been eliminated, but we 1 or 2 games away from doing so.
Yeah.
Players don't play very hard in the NFL sometimes. Like you can feel it. Like,
Right.
oh, that is just a complete and utter lack of intensity. Dan Campbell keeps them playing hard. I knew that they would be close in a lot of games. I did not know that they had what it took to get over the hump and win a good amount of those games. I mean, they're 4-1 in their last 5, right? Aside from the loss on Thanksgiving to a Bills team that many people thought was the best in the league. I mean, that's a surprise right there. So this is a Lions team that I am very surprised. I'm very surprised. There's nothing short. I have no words. I knew that the secondary was going to be bad, but I didn't think the D-line would be good enough to make up for it this early. I didn't know if Aiden Hutchinson was going to be this good this early. And this defensive line, Pascal as well, this good this early. Aleem McNeil taking a huge step in year 2. Shout out to the NC State guy, you know what I mean? Hey, we
If
produced
you
pretty good
just
ball.
look at the way he played in college and his explosive, I didn't think that Hutch was ready to be that strong against NFL offensive linemen.
Yeah, and yet he is. So I think that this is what a time, and the Lions are trending upward. I don't care what nobody says. They're trending upward. They're trending in the right direction. This is what you love to see. But anywho, I know y'all tired of us talking about the Lions and talking about who ain't SWAC and talking about all things NBA. But come on back next week and the week after that and the week after that. Peace and love, y'all.